All right, so we're going to build on top of what we built earlier on the previous video. So let's go ahead and again, make sure you're watching these videos in the order that they're in to make sure you get the full advantage and full understanding. Otherwise, you're going to get confused because this is a very complicated product and these builds are going to be very complicated. So you don't want to start in the middle because you're going to get lost and things might not work out. As far as workflows, you're going to run into errors if you don't follow this step or the same process that are the sequence here. But anyways, so in the previous one, we obviously interacted with the system prompt here. We added a knowledge base. We talked about the different types of knowledge base that are available, like the file, URL, or even text that you can actually add manual information here. So let's go ahead and now go to tools section, because this is what makes this AI agent, these voice agents, very, very powerful. And this is how you can interact with the n8n backend. All right, so the tools, as you can see right here, it says provide the agent with tools it can use to help users, right? So once you click on the tool here, so there's the webhook and client here. We're gonna actually focus on the webhook because we need to add the tools inside n8n, and we just need to connect and send information back and forth between n8n and the 11 Labs voice agent. And the way to do that is we're gonna use the webhook. So the configuration is going to be, you need to give this tool a name. That's very important because you want to be able to, on the system prompt, refer to this tool whenever you are telling the system prompt to use this tool for a certain purpose, or for whatever purpose you're trying to use n8n for, right? So, and again, we'll go into detail on how to call this tool within the system prompt here. So let's go ahead and actually just do a sample one, right? So I'm just going to say test tool, okay? And make sure that if you are using several words for the naming, make sure you put underscore here, because that's the best way to do naming convention. And also actually will give you an error if you do go beyond the alphanumeric. So this is the description that you want to give to this tool. And again, you're instructing the large language model when to use this tool, right? Just like inside your AI agents, when you are instructing. So if we go to our AI agent right here, again, don't worry about this. I'm just giving this as an example. We'll come back to this, but this is where on the system prompt, right? Like if you're familiar with additional tool, we just say, hey, use this tool for checking available times for appointments, use this tool for this and that. So that's exactly what this is going to be like, right? Get rid of that. This is exactly what we're doing here. We're describing when this agent should use this tool, right? So therefore, we're going to say, use this tool to call n8n. Just again, these are just for sampling purposes. And the way to interact with this, so now it says it knows when to use this tool, right? So whenever a customer is interacting with this voice agent, as soon as it hears that, oh, I want information about n8n, then this voice agent is going to recognize that, and based on the system prompt, they will basically both understand that, okay, the customer has said almost like the magic word, or they have said something that matches this description, and therefore it's going to know to use this tool for that moment, right? So, and again, once we build more complex things, you will understand exactly, but this is just to show you when to or how to use description here. So the method, it's going to be post for now because we're sending this information to n8n, therefore it's going to be post. The URL, so this is where you're going to put your webhook URL. So let's go ahead now, switch to n8n. Let's go ahead and name this testing 11 labs. That's good enough. All right, so now let's go ahead and add a webhook, because that's going to be the trigger right here, right? So I'm going to search for webhook, like that. So if you're not familiar with webhooks, this is how you can communicate with third parties, right? From n8n, outside n8n, and we're going to send the information back via webhook as well. But the URL is going to be either a test URL or a production URL. So the difference is that whenever you have this workflow live, that's when you will choose production URL. But for us, in order for me to show that, hey, look, it's actually reaching out and talking to back and forth between this voice agent from 11 Labs and the webhook here, and then we're going to use the test. So because this is really long, let's go ahead and change the path here. So I'm just going to say testing. Okay, so now the URL is your app.n8n.cloud. So if you're on the cloud, it's going to say the cloud. If you're on self-hosting or whatever, this is going to be your URL that you input on the lab, on the 11 labs there. So the HTTP method, this is going to be a post again. And the authentication, we're going to leave it as none here. This is very important. Make sure you're changing the respond from immediately to using respond to webhook node, because for this particular webhook trigger, what we're doing is we're just basically listening for incoming information from 11 labs, but we want to be able to communicate back to 11 labs. Therefore, when we are building our workflow, you need to make sure you're selecting this respond to webhook node, because then we will add another webhook node. So if I just go ahead and click on add, and if we search for webhook again, so this time instead of selecting the trigger, you're going to select the respond to webhook. And if you can see in the bottom, it says returns data for webhook. So you're going to choose this as when you're sending response back. So that we're going to connect this to whatever flow we're building, and then we're going to collect that back to this node where this is going to send information back to our voice agent. But anyways, for now, the reason why I'm showing that is because I want to make sure you understand why we're choosing this respond to webhook node. All right, so just leave this as it is. Let's go ahead and test this out. So I'm going to go ahead and copy. So make sure your HTTP method is post. You're going to click on copy here. So now we're going to go back to our voice agent, and we're going to paste this here. All right, perfect. Okay, so now next we can send either headers, path parameters, query parameters, or body parameters. We need to send some parameter, otherwise this just won't work. So if you just save the changes now, oops, I didn't mean to download that. But anyways, if you just click on save now, this is going to give you an error. As you can see in the bottom, it says post method requires request body schema. So you need to have, that's a requirement. When you create a tool, you need to enable the body parameters here, right? So let's go ahead and actually click on enable here. And at the bottom, when you do that, so this is again, same thing. We need to describe, we need to have a description for this body parameter and say when to use this, right? Or what to do here. So for the description, we're going to say in a polite way, ask the customer their name. Okay. So now when we do this, now you'll see in the bottom why I'll set this. So now we're saying that during the conversation, we're instructing this voice agent that you need to, when this tool is called, right, you should ask for a parameter that we need to send back to n8n, and we're instructing it that in a polite way, ask the customer for their name, but now we need to describe what that name is. So we're going to click on add property, and this is the data type. So we're going to click on string because we're just sending a name. We're going to select name or add identify as name, and just we're going to describe what this parameter is. We're going to say name of the customer. All right, so now that's done. Let's go ahead and test this out. I'm going to click on save changes, click on save, and this time it shouldn't give us that error because we provided a body parameter in our webhook. And there you go, it saved it properly. So now let's go ahead and let me actually minimize this. So that way I can show you. Bring this over here. Perfect. There you go. All right. So now let's go ahead and. All right, good. So now let's go ahead and actually test this thing out. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, let's see, what do we call this tool? We call it test tool. So now we need to make sure that we describe here that we're going to say when a customer is asking, actually I'm going to tell it name Bill. Let's go ahead and say you work at AI workshop. Okay. The knowledge base, we'll leave it as the URL. So now we're going to instruct it when to use this tool that we just created, right? So we're going to say when a customer is asking about a particular school topic, use the test tool. right? You want to make sure that the name is matching here. So we said, what was it? Test tool. Yep, exactly. So now we should be able to interact with this voice agent and send this information whenever a customer is asking about a particular school topic. Actually, to make this more relevant, let's just quickly, or to test this out, actually, I'm going to say something crazy here. So I'm saying when a customer is, let's say, asking about the weather, use the test tool, right? Because we want to make sure this is very clear, our instruction, because this will be outside the AI workshop. So I want to just showcase how you can use this. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on save. Yeah, it's going to take, like I said, a couple of seconds. That's pretty normal. All right, so now we're good to go. So now let's go ahead and click on test workflow here. So now this is listening for incoming data that should be coming in from 11 Labs. So let's go ahead and click on test AI agent. And now we're going to talk to this, and then we're going to mention weather. So it should reach out as soon as we mention that. So let's go ahead and do that.
Hi, I'm Bill. How can I help you today?
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How can I help you today?
Can you tell me a little bit more about AI Workshop?
Of course. AI Workshop is all about helping businesses like yours streamline operations.
Okay,
and grow.
okay, that's great. Can you tell me about the weather?
I can definitely do that. What city are you interested in? I can tell you the weather for any location.
San Francisco.
I'm sorry, but I can't get the weather information for San Francisco right now.
All right, so now let's take a look at what happened here. Yeah, it looks like there was an error because I didn't attach another node to it. So let's quickly add a node. So I'm going to add, let's say, Google Sheets. Google Sheets. Let's say append a row. Okay, that's fine. Whoops. I'm going to do this. All right, so let me go ahead and zoom in here a little more. Delete this. Shut this down. I'm just going to add respond to webhook. Again, this is just for test purposes. All right, perfect. So now let's go ahead and try this again. And I'm going to click on test workflow. So now it's listening.
Hi, I'm Bill. How can I help you today?
Hey, Bill, can you tell me about the weather?
Sure thing. I can help you with that. What city are you interested in?
San Francisco. All right.
I'm sorry.
There
I
you
can't
go.
provide you with the...
All right, perfect. So now let's go ahead and take a look at this. So if we, let me get rid of that because I just want to, oops, yeah, I just want to showcase that this got communicated to us, right? So now if I click on, let me maximize this a little bit more. If I click on this webhook, all right, there you go. So now you can see that we got this data that came to us, right, from our n8n, and I'm sorry, from our 11 Labs there. And what it sent is the body, right? It sent the name because, again, like I said, we asked it to provide a name, and we could have said a city, but we just said name. But essentially, this is the body parameter that we on the voice agent here on the tool. We go inside. So where did it go? Right here, name, right? That's what we said. This was the only body parameter that we're sending. So now we can actually change this to city if you want to make this better. Save. So now you'll see that right here, this is going to change from body to city, right? So now we're going to go ahead and use this again, get rid of it, delete this. Now I'm going to click on test workflow. All right, let's test it out. Call AI agent.
Hi, I'm Bill. How can I help you today?
Hey, Bill, I wanted to get information about the weather.
Sure thing. What city are you interested in?
San Francisco.
Okay, let me check the weather for...
All right, perfect. There you go, right? So we received data. So now if I go inside the webhook and go to the JSON here, As you can see in the bottom, body, it says city, San Francisco, right? That's because that's exactly what we identified right here. We told it to, in a polite way, well, we said customer name, but it doesn't matter because the important thing is that we're sending this parameter right here, and whatever is going to be the value of that parameter is exactly what's going to populate here, right? So that hopefully gave you a good idea of how this can communicate back and forth. So now on the next video, we can actually build a very quick workflow here that is going to customer service for a restaurant, for example, that's going to ask for a reservation. What we're going to do is identify a bunch of body parameters like the name, the time, the date, and the number of people for that reservation for this restaurant. And we're going to send that back to our webhook. We're going to attach a Google Sheets that's going to capture all that information and respond back to the customer saying that the reservation has been confirmed. Okay? All right. See you on the next video.